Welcome, everybody, to the crossover, the final crossover before the 2025 National, which is coming up in just a few days. Josh, your plane is departing in just a few days, is it not?
3 days, less than 3 days.
You're not counting down by hours yet?
Well, I tried to do that math just now and I gave up. I can't. It's like 67 hours. Yeah.
Christina, pop up here for a second, please.
Your mic sounds a little echoey. Is your microphone on?
Mine?
Yeah.
Why are you, Josh? Does this sound echoey on your end too?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay, go back down. No, I'm just kidding.
You probably would.
Some people are already there, are they not?
Yes.
Already setting up the show.
Yes.
Does that get the blood flowing a little bit? Just thinking about those booths getting installed.
Yes.
It does. Okay.
We got charged. We got charged today. Additional fee for our swag, which got delivered directly to the warehouse, being brought to our booth. So we got swag.
Nice. Oh, is your headset and microphone plugged in properly? You might be coming through your laptops. You're a little bit echoey, actually.
I'm a little echoey. Okay.
Anyway, that gave rise to an opportunity to promote the fact that there are a lot of swag giveaway opportunities at the Card Ladder booth. Is that right, Christina?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
No, okay. I'm like, can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Okay, Stiff says I'm a little echoey too. Christina, will you just, Josh, do you have any mail days?
Yeah.
Okay, Josh, do a mail day. I'm going to send myself down and try and make sure my microphone is set to my mic and not to my laptop.
Yeah, sounds see, it's good. You. It's not us. All right, Josh, what do you got? I'll put you on screen.
Now you're in charge.
No, I'm in charge. Uh-oh. Everyone be afraid.
Screen me. All right. 2022 Prism Black Finite Zeke Elliott PSA 7 1 of 1. Yeah. We're going into the running backs now. I've run out of receivers, so I had Zeke Elliott for like 5 straight years in a keeper league. I always liked him as a player. He was first team All-Pro his rookie year and then didn't get another first team All-Pro. I think he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. And I'm trying out these new slab bumpers. We'll see how that goes.
Very nice. I like the clear ones because at least then it doesn't detract from it. Yeah.
They had a bunch of companies to choose from, obviously, and a lot of the companies market themselves around like the color gradient combos they have. And I'm like, I just want the clear one.
Yeah. Congratulations. Very nice card.
Thank you.
Is that it? That's the Zeke.
Yeah,
finite?
you sound a lot better now.
Yeah, I definitely was my laptop mic for sure.
So let's rewind to the part where you said that Christina screwed up.
Yeah, let's rewind to that, please. Thank you, Josh.
We're still gonna go with that, I think.
He's gonna cut this part out.
Yeah, he is. Look, go back. Let's go back to the swag, okay?
Yeah, swag.
I got days of swag, okay? I want everyone to know that I have chargers, battery packs every day. I got stickers. I got what do I got? I got
just go look in our living room. There's boxes full of it.
We do. I also have a whiteboard right next to me, right over here, that has a shit ton of Post-its, all writing all over. And I have Wednesday. Should we go on like what every day is going to be swag wise?
No.
Or just tell people?
God, no. I've already lost interest a long ago.
Welcome to my life.
You were doing a great job, though. This isn't for me.
Okay.
This is for the masses.
We got t-shirts in different colorways and in different styles.
Nice.
We got hats.
We
got hoodies. We
Hoodies.
got chargers.
Wow.
And if you're a crossover listener, you get first dibs on hoodies. They will not be out. They will not be publicized.
Oh, you got to come
Nice.
ask for it?
Yeah, you come ask
Maybe
me
even
for
give a
it.
secret code.
Yeah, you come ask me for it and you give the secret code, which we will not tell you what it is.
You just have to guess it.
You'll have to know. Like, if you watch a show, you should probably know what the secret code is. You come at me and you say secret code, blah 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 blah, but the actual code, and then tell me what size you want. I will go and get you a hoodie and bring it back like a drug deal.
Nice.
TBD
Yeah.
on the code.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Christina. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the show. So we've got questions by the plenty tonight. Several long questions too. So we're going to try and keep this show to 60 to 80 minute range, something like that. So first of all, I didn't really get to say how awesome that Zeke Finite is. I love a good black Finite mail day. Do you have anything lined up for the National yet? Pick
One.
up. Oh, let's go. Okay.
One
You've got-
deal.
You can already justify your trip.
Yeah, but I'm like 5% nervous that they're gonna back out based on the sale of another card. We'll see. I hope that doesn't become an issue.
Oh man, that's the thing about those deals in principle.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the questions here. Up first from JD9 Cards. I will be going to my first national next week, and I do not own comfortable shoes. My feet currently have blisters already. How bad will my national experience be if I continue to spend 5 figures on sports cards and $0 on shoes?
More money for cards. It sounds like it's gonna be better.
Sounds way better. Sounds
This guy's-
way better.
Just hang out, take breaks at the card letter booth. You'll be able to sit.
Yeah, we have carpet or something, don't we?
Oh yeah. Well, he has to be wearing shoes though. No bare feet people will be
No bare
allowed.
feet.
Yeah, we will remove you with security. I will call the police on you.
Right.
Yeah. We don't just have carpet, we have padding like under the carpet. We also have stools. Like, I've thought of a lot of things, okay? Maybe not everything, but all of the issues that we have had or have been brought up to us in the past, I have tried to solve this national. Not saying that there wasn't something that I haven't thought of. This is my fault if it's horrible. Josh and Chris did everything correct.
I'm going to spend the first 30 minutes we're there looking for mistakes.
I'm sure you will. I would expect nothing more from you.
I showed the booth to my son and he was impressed. So I think you should
I
feel
mean,
good about that.
It's a big fancy looking booth.
If I can get how old is he? 9?
He's 9.
9. If I can get a 9-year-old boy's approval on the booth in the
Right.
sports cards arena, I feel like I won.
If it's not Minecraft and it's impressive, then
Yeah. I won at life.
I'll tell you this: your first mistake was inviting us to find mistakes.
You were gonna find mistakes whether I invited you or not. At least this way, I'm open
you're in
to
control.
criticism. Yeah,
You took back.
nice
the
try
control.
though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question here from Roundtree 13 Cards. You are at the National. You get to open one box with your hobby friends. What sport, year, and brand?
that's a great question.
Yeah, remember we opened a box at the National a few years ago. It was like a Bowman Chrome
Yeah.
football from like the early 2010s. Andy was there.
I'm assuming that
She blinded me
Money-
with refractors.
money is not an option here. Money is not a
Money is no
Deterrent.
object.
yeah, it's not a deterrent. So let's go 2018 Prism basketball. I wanna hit that Luka Black.
That's a great choice.
Yeah.
I almost think as tempting as it is to want to open like a 97 Metal Universe box and just light all that money on fire.
Too many base cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a total junk fest. So getting like a really new product at least gives you the illusion that like a bunch of these guys are going to pan out, So
True.
there's hope.
2024 Prism football would be fun.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. That is a fun thing to do, right? Like a group of guys get together, just split a box. How do you decide who gets to keep which cards? Or do you just burn them all just to make sure nobody gets anything?
It sucks because like nobody can do that anymore. Like, can you imagine? Like, let's just spend $3,000 and just open a box for fun. It's like, what
Yeah.
are we made of money?
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the card budget for the week, like,
It's like, would you rather go to Disneyland or open one box of cards?
and get nothing. All right. From Wookie Hunter, predict the biggest announcements that will be made at the Nationals.
It's the National. There's no S. Probably a new repack. Changing the hobby forever.
That can't be wrong.
Yeah.
there will be repack announcements.
Right. I can't think of anything else.
I can't think of any either, and I don't really care. I mean, not to slight the question, but I'm the corporate announcement portion of the show is like the 212th thing I am concerned about.
Yeah, you'd rather be concerned about what shoes Publius is wearing.
That is a more pressing issue. Tasty Card Sandwich says, with the 2026 National just over 1 year away, what are some things that people can start doing today to absolutely crush it in Rosemont 2026? He's
Book
already
your
thinking
hotel.
ahead.
Book
Yeah.
your hotel.
Yeah.
You can't book hotels yet. I've tried.
Oh my god.
Oh wow. Good for you.
All right, well then I don't know. That seems far away.
Yeah. Yep.
I barely know what we're doing at this National.
So one thing I will say is what you could do now is set an alarm, like a calendar invite, that hotels usually open up around 11 to 10 months before that date. So you could set the reminder now that like on August 30th, like you need to book your hotel.
Smart. Also, can I circle back to a comment that Brendan made earlier that I put on the screen and I never replied to, which was I kind of
Yeah,
missed the card ladder
yeah.
terrible Mike days on Instagram.
You saw me giggling, it was because of that.
So good.
That's a real crossover listener right there.
The nostalgia for just the absolute garbage bin audio. And I don't think people appreciate the fact that that audio was cleaned up quite a bit too. There was
Really?
a lot of processing work done on the back end on that.
I have noticed that the uploads since we switched to YouTube are much quicker. I mean, it's obviously because like we're recording on YouTube, so you just press a button, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Whereas Instagram, you got to export and all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You had to download and extract the video files and the audio files and like correct the audio and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I mean Instagram Live. I think ever since we left, I think it's over. I think Instagram's on the decline.
I haven't seen anyone go live since.
All right, from Yeah Man Cards, prepare yourself for another Nationals. With the next Nationals after this run in Chicago being either Detroit or Atlanta, which city would you prefer it to be and why?
I don't think there's a difference.
Yeah, pass.
I guess probably Atlanta?
Go ahead, Christina.
Detroit. You think I want to go to Atlanta in fucking July and August? Like
Hotlanta.
yeah, it's Hotlanta year round, and like
Christina,
in the summer, no thank you.
What's Atlanta's high temperature on Thursday next week?
Is
Let's
this your
just see.
question?
Maybe we can just end.
I got you.
We can just end this discussion right now.
I got you.
Bring it back
Next-
to the 3 wise.
87, 74 with rain.
Okay, could be worse,
Okay.
I guess.
Humidity
Okay.
70%.
But this week, right now, like that
Yeah.
is cold because this week it's 91, 91, 93, 95, 94.
Yeah,
And then it
You'll be
drops to
sweating.
88, 87.
You will be
Right.
sweating for sure.
So,
Did anyone
like-
ask a question about the upgraded air conditioning at Donald Stevens?
Talk about it.
I mean, I saw a couple people post about it that they got an all new AC system and Wi-Fi system.
Let's hope this isn't a case of overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah.
Well, I think that post came from the city of Rosemont.
They're really scared of us.
Yeah, like I don't think it was just some influencer saying that. I think it was like a city convention center type post.
All right. Well, I'll be upstairs. I hope the AC is blowing up there too. What do you think about that? What do you think about the upstairs area and how
The
it's going to
secret?
have the secret new area with all the dealers?
The secret modern tables upstairs and the
Yeah.
AC.
What if that
ballroom.
area is just loaded?
That's where everyone's gonna be.
I kind of feel like it will be loaded, dude.
Yeah. What
But-
if that room's just? What if there's just a fucking line to get into that room? It's just
We
like
know that the
and nobody's
we know-
walking by the fucking Pokemon table.
Isn't trade night and stuff up there? Like, there's like an official trade night every night now.
Yeah. So, well, there's a trade night on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Card Ladder sponsoring.
Psh, I knew that.
Sorry, Marino. Yeah, we should have made that announcement earlier. Card Ladder will be sponsoring the official trade nights.
Which one? All of them?
I believe all of them.
So that
We're
means
a sponsor
everybody who
of
goes
trade
has
night.
to give each of us a free card, right? That's what
That's-
sponsorship means.
That's totally not what it means.
Oh.
That's like when you go up the main escalators, that's on the when you're looking at the map, that's on the left side. And then
Just get
the
upstairs.
the modern
You'll
people are on
find
the
it.
right. So where we are, the modern people are right above us.
Oh,
Nice. So
Good.
we're just an escalator ride up.
Yeah, but you have to walk to the escalator and then walk back to where we were on the second floor. Like there's no escalator right next to our booth, unfortunately.
escalator ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
I'm looking for the escalator in relation to our booth. I don't
The
see it.
closest one is
Oh.
probably all the way in the front.
Yeah, I see it.
Like
Right.
in the convention center part, like past the doors, but like all the way in the front.
Are there rewards if I can get upstairs using the escalator that's going down?
No, because one, you're gonna get yelled at. Two, you might get kicked out, and then I'm gonna be the only one at the booth because Josh is gonna be the dummy next to you, also trying to run up the escalator, down escalator.
Motivating him. The good news. Listen to this good news. I rejoice in my good news bringing. The women's room is closer to our booth than the men's room, which is used far less.
Yes.
Mm.
But I just moved from Texas. So if any of you try to come in the women's bathroom, I will kick you in the balls.
What if I identify as not having balls?
Well, we'll see then, won't we? When I kick them.
I really want to get to this next question.
Let's go. What's the next question? Oh, okay, let's go. Yeah, this is the topic du jour. From TJ is online. I count 22 Caitlin Clark card sales over $50,000 using Card Ladder. Just find it interesting that none of these buyers have ever come forward, and 20 of the sales were sold via Golden and Fanatics. I just wonder why none of these big-time Clark fans have ever come forward to show off their cards. Maybe the cards are buried with Jimmy Hoffa. Any thoughts? And PK Cards says, who is buying these big Caitlin Clark cards?
I think last week I had done the sales history screen with Caitlin Clark cards that had sold over 10,000 and it was like 180 something. Do you remember this?
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
209 now, so it's like 20 in the last week.
Ooh.
209 sales over $10,000.
Sheesh. Yes.
I have a couple theories here.
Okay.
One, they're not actual card collectors. They're Caitlin Clark fans that stumbled upon them somehow. And actually are interested in owning these cards for long-term hold. Theory number two. these are flippers who aren't going to pretend like they are collecting these cards, don't want to post them so that you know that they're the ones who bought them. And they're either trying to sell them for repack products, or they want to just put them in card display box, like card show displays, and sell them in person using their one and only comp over 10,000 to get someone else to spend a lot more money on it. And then 3 is a little more tinfoil hat, and the answer is no one. No one is actually buying these.
How would that work?
What
Auction
about
house? Yep.
what about corporations buying them?
It could be maybe the Indiana Fever is buying all of them.
But
Mm.
I made a hilarious joke that they could have just bought the Indiana Fever.
That is actually realistic
Right.
versus 209 10,000 plus cards.
Yeah, the low hanging fruit joke is that this is more than Caitlin Clark's 5-year contract or whatever. The big brain joke is just buy the whole damn team.
Well, yeah, that's $2,090,000 if you just like say they're all worth 10K. I mean,
What else, Josh? Thank you, Christina. Those 3 theories cover a lot of ground.
I don't know who's buying these. I posted this to my story as well.
Yeah.
That's the big question. You brought it up to me last week. Who's buying this stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yep. How
'Cause there's a
come,
lot of yeah.
how come we don't see any of it? I see posts occasionally of people who hit it in breaks and then,
Available.
off to golden. Yeah. Or available. Right. Exactly. So maybe if there's a listener out there who's one of the buyers of those 22 50K plus Clarks, show yourself.
Dude, whoever hit that flawless 1 of 1 that sold last night for 660 grand, they didn't even want to wait for it to get graded. They were so anxious to sell it quickly.
and that was probably smart.
Right.
Yeah. The raw of it all. The one on Golden is raw too, right? Golden's
Is
got
it?
the Immaculate, I think, and
the NT
Last-
hasn't come out yet.
the NT has been hit. It's been seen. It's definitely been seen. I don't know if it's made its way to the auction houses yet.
You probably don't want to beat up on this topic anymore.
No, I do.
Oh,
I do actually.
yeah. I mean,
I have a take on this, but the next question brings it out, so I'm holding it.
go read it.
Okay. The next question is from Ragnar Cards, who says, you have mentioned a few times recently that there are multiple signals that we are near the top. Do you think that applies to all sports cards or mainly just Panini case hits, females that shoot 27% from 3, Jaden Daniels unlicensed Uranus cards, etc.? If you believe that this applies to high-end 1 of 1s as well, would you expect those to stop being as readily available for sale if the prices were to dip? So there's a lot of questions there and a bit of spice. But I want to take that question and steer it into a different take that I have that, like, as I read the question, I realize it's only somewhat responsive, but I'm not going to let that stop me. My take is this. During the early innings of 2021, Golden Auction sold 2 Michael Jordan 1986 number 57 Fleer PSA 10s for $720,000, and it provoked a lot of commentary about this is just the beginning and blah blah blah. But if you look at the Card Ladder 50 index, you'll see that it peaked about a month later. So those Jordans sold on February 1st of 2021, and then the Card Ladder 50 peaks around March 1st of 2021, and then over the next year, the Card Ladder 50 loses half of its value. It just goes into a free fall. A lot of factors at play there, including the end of quarantines and stuff like that. But I also think one of the narratives that I would tell about that era is that I think there was a collective reckoning when the 720K prices were paid for that Jordan, and I think it caused people to say this is going up way too much, way too fast. What are we doing? And, 720,000 for this card when it was 100,000 a few months ago. A 7x, this card appreciating over $500,000 in real dollars in price over just a few months, where this is out of control. And I think it calmed everybody down. I think it threw a big old bucket of cold water on the market as a whole. I don't know if this Caitlin Clark 660,000 sale is going to do that. I don't know if it's going to be a bucket of ice water on the whole market, but I think it has the potential to be an inflection point, and it's in the potential to make people just stop for a second, because there's just such a difference to me between 660,000 for this and which, like, previously, she had maybe cards like around 150,000 or 200,000. Like, I don't remember what her Black Finite went for. But when you start getting to that 700,000, kind of magic number almost that the Jordan Fleer established, and we got really close to it, I think there's a real potential. This turns out to be an inflection point. This kind of makes people think we might be a little ahead of ourselves here. What do you think about that?
I don't think, to emphasize your point, I don't think people realize how quickly things went up in 2021 and then starkly right back down. I'm looking at the CL50 index. So in February of 2021, the index, as according to our index on Card Ladder, the CL50 was valued at 26,000, right? And then March is when it peaked at 35,000. So basically like a 33% jump, right? And then if you go to July, it comes all the way back down to 18,000. It vaporizes 50% of the market value in 4 months. So it does this, and this is why you and I have always talked about on the show. It's exciting to see these like 2x in a month type things, but that actually ends up hurting it quicker on the other end. It actually makes it come down faster. And I think maybe that's kind of what you're saying here.
Exactly. Yeah. And I really want to emphasize like the sort of the psychology of it. Just we can sort of snipe at and sort of make fun of like 150,000, 200,000, even a $300,000 sale. But like when you're talking 660,000, 700,000, I think it goes beyond being the object of humor, and it becomes a bucket of cold water where it's like, like this isn't even really that amusing anymore. This is like a lot of money. Where can it go from here? Becomes a question too. Like, have we just completely used up all the runway in the near term for a card like this? For in the context as well of Clark being an American cultural phenomenon, and so on and so forth, and her product, these WNBA products being some of the most energizing that are in the space. But I just wonder if there's a real risk here that we've been drinking a bit too much of our own Kool-Aid as a hobby and as a market, and maybe we're drunk on our Kool-Aid right now, and we back off a little bit. So Josh, the Card Ladder, the CL50 index peaked around 35,000. What's it today? About like 16,000 or something like that? 15,000?
Let's see. 1 second. Sorry.
That's all right. Pretty sure it's right around there.
Right now it is 15,000.
15,000, right? So like we are not in the middle of this like market wide price spike, at least not on the CL50 type of cards. So I don't know that there's a potential for the whole market to get cooled off by sort of some introspection as a result of the sale, but I do think there's a potential for like there's always like it's called I remember Michael Osaki called when the Jordan hit the 720K. He just made a quick story post and he said, "I'm calling this a blow off top. This is a blow off top," and he nailed it. And I wonder if we're kind of in the same bucket right now.
Some people are gonna say in response to that, like, the CL50 is kind of more basic cards and boring cards, and the true measure of the market today is like the 101s and the the super rare, ultra modern stuff that everyone's getting all excited about. I would just say I feel pretty confident in the CL50's ability to track the overall market and say that we're not anywhere near 2021 yet.
Yeah, at least not on a per card price basis.
Right.
Volume wise, we've blown past it, but on a per card price basis, it's much more evenly distributed, and it's like you said, like it's more accumulated to different types of cards. Yeah, it's I think that's a good counterpoint, and that's a good reply that you had to it too.
But the people that are making comparisons of the Clark card are to like, Shaquille O'Neal masterpiece 101s and like Michael Jordan exquisites and LeBron gold refractor rookies. It's just I think what you're saying is like the 660 in a vacuum isn't like an insane number for a lot of other cards and like historical cards, but this card was made like a couple months ago. It's kind of this like faux product. She's in her second year. It just sort of might represent the over exuberance on this brand new thing, and 660 might be the tipping point.
Yeah, I think you point out some good factors. I'm going to point out another factor here that I'm just going to try and navigate it respectfully. The WNBA is just not the global brand that the NBA is. It's not the domestic brand that the NFL is. It's not the domestic brand that the MLB is. It is an emerging sport. Clark is captivating. She is, or at least I don't know what her numbers are for cable viewership right now, but in the not so distant past, I know for certain that her numbers were comparable to the biggest regular season NBA games. In that 2 to 3 million range. Like she is that type of draw, and she's filling NBA arenas here domestically. But the NBA is very much a beneficiary of the developments going back to the 90s of the globalization of men's basketball. China, Australia, it's Europe. All these places there's been decades of groundwork laid to build up fan bases for the NBA product, and I'm just not quite sure that the WNBA has that presence in these overseas markets yet. And those overseas markets are so important to the NBA market. I mean, if you look at the popularity domestically, the NFL is just the juggernaut. It's the elephant in the room. The NFL is the PSA of local sports. And, the NBA is, I don't know. I don't want to continue that analogy. But the NFL is just the market share giant. And so, I think that's something to consider too. Like, but if there's always like, there's always a concern that we're analogizing Clark to such and such NBA player, but the market's very different there, I think.
Someone in my DM said she's the MJ of the WNBA. I just was like, that's wildly offensive to everything Michael Jordan built his career. It's just like a crazy statement. Yeah,
that's comments like that. On the one hand, we can obviously see a kernel of truth there, and that Michael Jordan helped elevate the NBA platform. Clark is elevating the WNBA platform, but then Michael Jordan went on to win 6 Finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, have the highest points per game average in NBA history. So those are the shoes that have to get filled subsequently for that analogy to hold.
Can I just point out that there are 16 card sales of Caitlin Clark that are more or equal to or more than her annual salary from the WNBA?
Which is true, but like, let me just throw in that she makes a bazillion bucks more. That's not.
I know, but
she makes way more money than that off of sponsorships and. So
I specified her annual WNBA contract.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yep. Okay. So that kind of leads me into. I'm gonna jump to this question for a second here, because we're offering a skeptical point of view on Clark's market and some of the sales that she's had. So Sweat47 says the majority of people who I see publicly commenting about repacks, kabooms and downtowns, and overpriced WNBA cards do not appear to participate in any of these segments of the hobby. So if that is the case, then why do they seem to care so much? What do you want to say to that?
I also don't play for the Phoenix Suns, but I commentate on their games.
Yeah.
I mean, this affects all of us. These like market inefficiencies and like people getting overly excited about certain segments because they heard it from somebody else. I'm happy to be the one to dump the cold water on everybody.
Well, that's one point, is that it creates an opportunity to say something novel or interesting and spark a discussion. I also acknowledging that there is validity to this point, right? Like, we don't have much. I have no skin in the game of WNBA cards, and yet here I am commenting on it and commenting negatively. But here's the problem. So I think that's true. I want to acknowledge that's true, and I do want to like be cautious about going overly negative or something, or like not balancing that equation, because obviously when I was like looking at Asia Wilson cards for a period of time, I stumbled into some really cool collector accounts who love collecting her cards and presumably have done very well over the explosion of WNBA. And we obviously, that's a mixed bag. That means the stuff that they have went up, and now it's harder for them to find the stuff they want. But so I understand the nuance that. I get the point. I appreciate the point, and it wouldn't probably it doesn't thrill me to see somebody trashing in one of my PC players, or not trashing, but saying critical or negative things either. But here's the problem: if there's an issue with me, sort of having complaints or criticizing that market when I don't really have a place in it, I'm not an active participant. Well, then the same problem applies to somebody criticizing me for criticizing them. That same criticism applies. It's sort of the problem of global relativism is eventually it just collapses into itself. So if I can't criticize them, then you can't criticize me either, and we just can't criticize anything. Or on the other hand, we can criticize things, and it's going to be, look, I know the pangs of seeing people criticize the things that I enjoy. I see it every time I open an Instagram story. Inevitably, I will see it. But then here's the other thing to remember, and then I'll shut up on this. Every piece of content, or almost every piece of content, is a response to some other piece of content, and it's not happening in vacuum. So like, if we see somebody saying something like for example, all right, I hope he doesn't mind this.
I already know what you're gonna say.
I mentioned this to him today. What do you think I'm going with this?
Well, if you don't, I'll say it after.
Okay. Well, MK Sports Cards
Yep.
he's trotted back out the "Nobody collects football cards" slogan. Okay, which is very amusing if you sort of know him and you know how he's doing it, and like,
right,
John Spur fan at Tech is like, like, it's just amazing what a troll job it is, what he's doing. But it's also not trolling too, which even makes it a better troll, because he does genuinely believe it too. But like, I don't know what he looked at to provoke him to say that, but I could imagine in my mind that he just got done looking at the story, because he follows like 7,000 people on Instagram. So like, who knows all the different stories and stuff he sees. And he has like over 20,000 followers, right? So like, he's just interacting with a magnitude of people that I'm not. And I could see him just getting done with just browsing some Instagram stories and just seeing like post after post after post of ultra modern football cards that are just like so that Dan Marino, right? Like that. Well, maybe we'll talk about that card in a little bit. I think we will, because there's a question coming about it. But like, that caused me to look up Dan Marino sales, and I was finding like 90s one-of-ones of Dan Marino that had sold in the last 3 or 4 years for like $1,500, $1,000. Like Topps Gold Label, 1999 Topps Gold Label Dan Marinos. Like I found 2 of them that sold for like $1,000 or less. And then like, so if you have this context of like what 90s football cards are worth, and then you're seeing like Bo Nix, like a $50,000 Bo Nix card, or like somebody like posts a sale for a Bo Nix, Prism color or something for like $15,000, and you're like, $15,000, like That's 15 times what a 90s 1/1 Dan Marino costs. And then it just sort of leads to this thought of like, this isn't collecting. This is people speculating. This is people just continuously buying a card and hoping to sell it for more, playing a game of hot potato with it. And then he sees that and it builds up and then eventually just releases into this story post to just succinctly the slogan, nobody collects football cards. And obviously he gets the irony because he collects football cards. He has a Brett Favre PMG green. He has all these different football cards. And rant.
Yep, that was mine. It was the same. That was the same story.
What else do you want to say to this? Because something else that I want to say about this question involves your post, Josh, which is just that the thing that I didn't expect that I got a lot of feedback on crossover episodes or just people just DMing me about your stories was that I didn't know this. I did not know that a Kaboom card for this player, not even the gold out of 10, not the green out of 1, just a regular old Kaboom card is like 3 of this player's 6 highest sales of all time. People just didn't know that.
Right.
It was, in other words, it was educational. It sort of, it wasn't instructing people like you must not buy these or you must buy these, but it was just, here's a comparison and make of it what you will.
I wasn't even interested in the like gold prism versus gold Kaboom. Like I understand the intricacies of the market where like the gold Kaboom might outsell the gold prism, and you know, who am I to stand on my high horse and tell everyone prism's better than Kaboom? It was more like select black 1/1 is selling less than a base, you know, downtown pop 40. It's just sort of like the absurdity of it scaled out was where I thought it was more interesting to note.
Yeah, that's just your point of view. You know, it's just a point of view. And also there's such a contrarian streak in the hobby that when somebody puts out a point of view, it leads to doubling down on the other side almost every time. So like that's one of the other ironies of like the nobody collects football cards slogan is that it actually just makes people want to prove that they do collect football cards even more. So, all right, let's jump over to this one from Ryan Bitter, who says, please discuss last night's auction results. Does anything stick out to you or worthy of comment? And this was, I think, like referring to the 660,000 flawless logo woman 1/1 Caitlin Clark sale. But anything else stick out to you from last night's results?
I have the list up if you want to.
Yeah, sure. You want to bring it up?
Take a peek.
I definitely want to take a peek.
See if anything jumps out at you. To
Yeah,
me, maybe not so much jumps out at me yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. You posted about the Kobe. I think maybe you had some.
Oh, yeah,
You had
yeah,
some
yeah.
like you had some tweets about some stuff.
Yes, I did. I said a few things. So one thing So one thing I was noticing was that 2 of Shaq's 6 highest sales ever were last night. The Shaq Ultra Masterpieces 1/1, and the NT Colossal Logo Man autograph out of 4. Those are the second highest and the 6th highest Shaq sales of all time in the same auction. Yeah, there it is. And then what I was saying about
Out of 4.
Yeah, it's out of 4.
It's not even a 1/1.
Dude, a Logo Man out of 4 is just rude.
That's diabolical.
Yeah. And then what I said about the Kobe was so the Kobe PMG Red ended up selling for 144,000. By far the highest sale ever of a Kobe PMG Red in the grade of PSA Authentic. And it had a few sales during that 2021-2022 period. 144,000 there for that. Actually went for more than the Shaq 1/1 Ultra Masterpiece.
This is the argument people will use when we say the 2021 peak was higher.
Well, if they are right that there's bubbling happening, but just in a different group of cards, then I think that inflection point is closer than we think it is.
You think that this Kobe out of 90 selling for more than the Shaq is interesting?
Yeah, I certainly prefer the Shack.
Because this is one of your preferred one-on-ones from this era, isn't it? The purple one.
I like it. Yeah, I definitely like it. There's a bit of an issue with these in multiple sports, though. It's not an issue. Well, it is an issue, but I don't mean to be alarmist about it. It's well known that a lot of these have two copies because of the Fleer bankruptcy auctions
Right.
that happened in the early 2000s. And this
Wasn't it-
particular Shack, the lore or the story behind the Shack, according to I think Fanatics' social media accounts or maybe Tops or something, is that this was pulled in a box like a month ago.
Oh
This
wow.
one. Yeah, but the Pop Report has two now. The Pop Report has two, and this one has provenance supposedly of having come out of a pack a month ago. So the other one that's graded, presumably, I don't know, presumably, that one was one of the copies that leaked to the market as a replacement copy that wasn't really intended for distribution, but still made it to the public through Fleer's bankruptcy auctions.
So the guy who has the other one is like, oh darn.
Yeah. Well, also that guy probably still way ahead. So, but
This one.
but yeah, there's two of them, and that's true for multiple other of those purple one of ones from 1998 Ultra too.
And this Kaboom Brady is back to 2022 private sale all-time highs.
Okay, yeah. So let's just hover on that for just a second because I had another tweet where I said, here are 4 cards with roughly 6-figure price swings over the last few years. So like, whoa. So the card you're showing is a 2018 Kaboom Gold Tom Brady PSA 9. Hammer out the door price 120,000 last night. What was the previous sale?
18 in late 2022. Well, there's a private sale in early 2022 for 110, and then a public sale late 2022 for 18. OMG.
Dude, I mean, come on, man. Like the way that graph is the shape of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it was down 100K and up 100K.
We have the middle finger graph. I'm introducing the Grand Canyon graph. Or I suppose I could be more crude. We'll just call it that. We'll call it the Grand Canyon graph.
What the hell is this?
That is a Topps Dynasty Shohei Ohtani 1 of 1. That's about all I know.
Everything Ohtani is just selling for a lot of money. I was just browsing sales history, sales over 10K today, just going back like a couple months, and there was a lot of Ohtani. Just
Yeah.
an observation I made.
Ohtani cards are nuts, and that adds up. Like he's just such a cultural phenomenon.
He's balling again.
He's balling again. He has the overseas market. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know enough to comment further. If
What
he
about
does
this-
get a 4th MVP this year, he'll be the player. He'll be the only non-Barry Bonds player with 4 or
3.
more MVPs.
What about this rubies for 100K?
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant 98 star rubies.
Yeah. Huge price for that card, obviously. There was an interesting trio of Kobe sales. There was the P.M. Jurette at 140. There was the
Yep.
Rubies at 100, and there was a Credentials at like 70 or 60.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
90s cards numbered to 50 are just incredible prices.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Well, let me bring you. Can you put the Dan Marino card up?
Yes, I'm ready to talk about the Dan Marino.
Yeah, so let me introduce it via Bye Bye Baby Cards, who says, in quotation marks, it was all that Dan Marino's fault. Everyone knows that. If he had held the ball, laces out like he was supposed to, Ray would have never missed that kick. Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Would you like a cookie, son? Do you know that reference?
Nope.
I didn't either, but I asked Google AI. No disrespect, GPT.
Traitor.
I switched allegiances briefly. And Google's AI assigned this as a verbatim quote to Ace Ventura. And the overall, Josh Adams says Ace Ventura. And so in the overall reference here is just this idea that I guess so I was doing a little bit of Dan Marino research earlier today. Dan Marino played in one Super Bowl and he lost, and they lost by 3. And I think this is a reference to a missed field goal that might have sent it into overtime or something. Don't quote me on that. But basically the gist of this is that like Dan Marino in the big game, they lost presumably because of a big field goal. And there's something interesting there to say about how, especially in the sport of football, that individual accomplishments are really a distinct category from team, and that Dan Marino can play a great game and a guy can still miss a field goal and cost him the game. All right, let's talk about this Dan Marino.
Yes, it was the exact same copy that had sold in October of last year on Fanatics Premier as well for 108,000, and that same cert, same copy, sold last night for 45,000. And this is the 98 Skybox Essential Credentials, now numbered to 8.
Some have said that this is Dan Marino's best card.
Okay. He he definitely has a PMG Gem Master 1 of 1, right? The same as the Rice and all those guys.
I don't know. I believe Dan Marino's playing career extends through the 1999 season, I think. Definitely includes the 98 season. So, I don't know. He's definitely got some 90s 1 of 1s. And they go for like $1,500, like the Topps Gold label and some other stuff like that.
Yeah.
I saw a sale from like 2007 of a Marino Flair Showcase Masterpiece for like $500 or $600. So maybe that card's like more in the range of this credentials.
Oh, another tennis knob. I don't even know who that is. $38,000.
Whitley old Wilson knob.
More Caitlin Clark cards, numbered to 49.
Yeah.
My God. This is crazy, dude. Come on.
Yeah. So that's is there I'm guessing there's a 99 of that too.
Yeah, this is like the least desirable one. Napkin patch for 35K. Caitlin Clark. What a mess.
I think there's a little bit of like people who are in the live shopping breaker ecosystem, and like that's the kind of their whole hobby experience.
Yeah.
And they're like in this feedback loop where like open the WNBA rookie royalty starts off the reverse Dutch auction with a $30,000 price tag, and then like it goes down to $3,000 or whatever, and then it's selling on the secondary market for more. And like it's just this is the product this is the high end product that's the subject of all the breaks and stuff on live platforms. And it just sort of like if that's your only exposure really to the card market, is that like there's just this whirlwind of hype that maybe sort of, you know, if that's like that's why there's value in like that sort of making the post that sort of calls out these price discrepancies and makes comparisons from across categories, across players, and so on and so forth, is just maybe to snap somebody out of that ecosystem and say like, you know, here's a little more context. There was a Paul Pierce sale for 19,000. Yep, there it is. And also, I think a PSA 10 rubies. Yeah, this Pop one Paul Pierce 1998 rubies PSA 10. I believe it's sold like I think it's sold how long ago? It sold that exact card sold a year and a half ago for 12,000, and that 12,000 at the time was Pierce's highest sale ever. And now 19,000 is his highest sale ever. So Paul Pierce, highest price ever paid publicly for a Paul Pierce card right there.
Wow.
And in an 18-month flip at a 60 or at a 50, a little over 50% profit.
It's better than Marino.
What else do you want to say about that Marino losing however much, 60 grand or whatever?
I have no idea. I thought the 100,000 was like pretty shocking at the time. And clearly the buyer wasn't too excited about it. They dumped it a few months later.
Yeah, the turnaround and sell of it all is rough.
Yeah, I'm not too like I don't really want to analyze that too much. It's kind of It's kind of a random card, to be honest, and to see it drop that much, I don't want to look too much into it. I just feel like the 100 was really high, and someone got overly excited that night, and then changed their mind, and now there's the person who's willing to pay that much is out of the market, so now you're down to second and third place battling it out, and it goes for 50.
Yeah, and that's a loss that's locked in that can be used as a tax asset. It really is, especially when if you're talking about like
Yeah.
HNIs or what is it, high net HNWIs, high net worth individuals. These are just tools to offset tax liabilities to some extent.
I think a lot of people were excited to message me about the Caitlin Clark thing in regards to money laundering or something to that effect. I don't know like the specifics of what that means, but I think it's just like a fun thing to say when you don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, it is. But let's
Watching
just
too much Breaking Bad.
let's just see one example first. Like, is there somebody DM me if you have a historical example of evidence that card sales were ever money laundering? I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I just would love to know if there's evidence that it did.
All right.
So,
What else we got?
all right, let me bring the questions back up. Here's what's up next. From Vinny Slabarino. Always enjoy the show. It is said that the price of the card is determined by how much someone is willing to pay. But with the rise of breakers and repackers, is a card now worth what people are willing to pay for a chance to win the card? Meaning, if 100 people are willing to pay $10 for a chance to win the card is now worth $1,000 minus the profit needed for the repacker. Thanks, Vinny.
That's not a world I want to live in.
Well, I think one of the more amusing parts about why repacking works as a business model is because there are real collectors who establish an organic market for cards, and that sort of allows cards to then be used as a volleyball that gets spiked back and forth from repacker to customer of breaker, who then accepts the buyback, and then it goes back into the repack, and then the volleyball just gets spiked back and forth across the net over and over again. And the reason why that works, like, because so for example, let me ask you this: why do they need a card to do this? Why can't they just do this with
slot machines?
With a pair of, well, why can't they just do this with a pair of socks? Why can't I just say this is $1,000 pair of socks? Everybody pay 100. Let's get 100 people together, pay $10. And we'll put it into the pot, and then here's $1,000 pot, and then if you win the pair of socks, we'll buy it back at 90%. So if you're the winner, then you either get $900 or you get to keep your pair of socks, and everybody takes the buyback, so they can just throw that money back into spinning the wheel again.
Well,
but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's like the Federal Reserve. You actually have to have something of real value to back it up that people want, right? That's where you're going with it. Exactly. So that's why sort of the sleight of hand that's used is that there's very real knowledge of a very real card market out there that's organically propped up by collectors. And then there's this parallel universe of people who just need an instrument to facilitate the randomized chance of putting in money and the shot at getting more money back. And the card is the instrument of that because there's a real market for it. But I think collectors have a legitimate question to ask when they say, how much of this is organic demand and people buying into this because they really want a shot at getting a card, and how much of it is just sort of using the card as an instrument to facilitate a dice roll. So can't they do Bitcoin repacks?
Absolutely.
Just you have a chance to win an entire Bitcoin, or you'll get the equal value back of what you put in to buy the repack, and then you pay a fee to sell it back to them, and it just same thing.
Yeah. So to Vinny's ultimate question, which is getting at how has this impacted the value of a card? And this is the collector's grievance, because the collector wants the card for the cheapest price. And this is making that much more difficult, assuming that the card that they're after overlaps with cards that are targeted for repacks. And I'll be honest, I don't think any card is ultimately immune from being included in a repack. I think there's a certain type of card right now, but what's to I mean, look, I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a Jokic flawless Logo Man autograph that was in a repack. What's to stop any card from ultimately making it into a repack? So
there's there's high-end repacks, there's going to be vintage repacks, there's Pokemon repacks.
right.
So you're almost like eating at the person's desire to like get into a repack of a category they enjoy,
Right. And presumably there's also people who are buying into repacks who like will keep the card if they get it.
You're funny.
So, I mean, but sort of there's these parallel markets that are operating at the same time, which is like there's the collector market of people who want to own the card, and then that market is being used to create this secondary market for a repack product.
Sarcastic smartass comment upcoming. What about the person who buys the card for the repack and then that player has a nice game and their card market doubles overnight, and then they are giving that away at less than the value they paid for, and they're losing money for the repack company? How's that? That's not very good for them.
No, it's not. That's why you need values updated every day.
Or you got to get these repacks out quick.
Yeah, or get but go ahead. Yes, welcome, Christina.
Well, I was just gonna say, is this where I come in and say, like, in order to support your repack business, you should really contact me at contact@cardladder.com so that we can get you accurate comps for your cards every day.
Down you go. Goodbye. So, Flarb Darb says, when do we get 51 Bowman repacks? Products like that already exist, my friend. There
Have
are.
you? Do you even
like
know
that
where to
already
buy a
exist.
repack if you wanted to?
I don't. But if I were to start that odyssey, I'd probably go to a live shopping platform and just start jumping into streams or something. I don't know.
Dude, I saw one at my local sporting goods store. I'm not shitting. I shit you not. I was at. It's called Shields. It's not local. I think they're nationwide. Shields, and we were walking around. And I just saw them in like the clothing section. There was like a whole case of PSA repacks.
Yeah, that's like a Minnesota-based like Dick's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
that's really cool because I don't know if you know this, but Shields is a co-op. Like the employees own the store. So that's kind of cool.
So here's another dimension of what Vinny that speaks to Vinny's question. So Vinny's sort of saying like the presence of cards having a value that is derived from the ability to repack them, in addition to the value that cards already have that's built in from speculators who want to buy them to sell them later. That those people participating in the market for a card sort of cakes on value as they compete. And then there's the collector who wants to have it for their collection, and that cakes on value. And now this is another layer of value that gets built into a card because now you have another person creating demand for this card and wanting to come in and buy it. And they're very aggressive. They are aggressive buyers. So the point here is that like on the one hand, like let's think into the future a little bit. What if these repack businesses fade and they lose traction? Like then if they are really a presence that's caking in value onto these cards, then when they go away, that's gonna take value away too. But on the other hand, if they if these repack and businesses entities, if they grow and they get bigger and stronger and they take up more and more market share, then that's going to create a long-term upward pressure on cards in particular. So I think that's a dimension to this topic too. Is now suddenly people forecasting prices and figuring out how to buy and sell cards have to consider how repack companies are going to fare because they are adding demand or they'll be removing demand for cards. All right. Up next from Raw Cards. By the way, is there an echo issue on
I
my
think they were
side?
saying with Christina.
Okay.
No, I'm getting trolled by the chat. Surprise,
Okay.
surprise. You guys
Okay.
troll me on air. They troll me in the chat. It's fine.
Okay. Raw Card says, would you rather own a one of your favorite player, but it's been chewed up by a dog, or a pack fresh gold kaboom of a player you hate?
The audience will come up with any scenario to get me to say I want a Kaboom card.
Well, here's another try. Weekends Are for Cards says, will there be a point where we consider the absurdity around downtowns and kabooms to be too big to fail, meaning that the ramifications surrounding these cards and their importance to selling wax and pushing liquidity through the repack market would have too many trickle-down effects if it were to implode? And most importantly, would you then buy some to support the hobby we love?
Absolutely not. I want my cards to be cheaper. Are you crazy?
Too big to fail. What a concept that is. Shout out George W.
There's another one.
And the Lucky Show would like to know, what would Josh do if I gifted him a Chris Paul kaboom with a busted corner at the National? And his options are 1, to burn it, 2, to keep it in his collection, 3, offered for sale on his Instagram stories, but it must include the following quotes: looks amazing in hand and undervalued.
Why is the corner busted?
I don't know. He's very specific. He's very nuanced.
Yeah, Chris Paul kabooms, the base ones sell for like $400. I'll burn it.
He's a man of principle with $400 on the line.
If it was like a few grand, I mean, I could always just, most of the stuff I post on my story is sarcastic anyway. So if I posted looks amazing in hand, like people would just be like, oh, he's being sarcastic. I can get away with stuff like that now.
That's exactly what I thought too. I was like, he could totally get away with undervalued on that.
And then I would just sell it and then be like, suckers.
Weekends Are for Cards also wants to know, if ChatGPT becomes a card influencer and starts pumping Caitlin Clark downtowns, what inning will we be in? From Drake's PC, over the last 6 months, Peyton Manning's card letter player index is up 24% compared to Tom Brady's being up 16%. Do you think this is due more from bigger Peyton Manning cards hitting the market compared to Brady, or how do you interpret that data?
It's because of you, Drake. I think that's what he wants us to say.
I think he wants the opposite. I think he wants to say that that it's just because demand for Peyton is outpacing Brady right now, independent of Drake.
I have a theory on this.
Wow, what is your theory count for this episode? Because it's impressive.
I don't know. We should have a theory count up in the corner that we just like tick. 6.
Sorry, 6 months. I was reading the question.
Oh, Tom Brady is oversaturating his market with all of his appearances.
I like this one.
Like, people are like a little like, go away now, bro. Like let me miss you.
It's so
he's
true.
He's the house guest who's been there for a month and a half, and he wants to eat every meal with you. And like, it's like, why don't you just go do something on your own for a little while?
This is a great take.
That's my theory. So Peyton is going up because Peyton knows how to go away and hide.
Till those Monday Night Football broadcasts with Belichick come back.
Yeah, but that's when he like comes into the like. That's when he's like around. But until then, you don't see him. Like, he's around for 18 weeks and then gone.
Yeah, Manning is like he's much more like naturally funny and organic of a person, and Brady's a little bit more forced. Like, I totally get what you're saying.
I'm starting to get why His wife might have.
Sorry.
That was too far. I'm sorry, Tommy. That was too far.
Well, if we want to compare Brady, a like-to-like card, I'm sure I could find one of Brady to Manning. I'm sure Brady's still 10x or whatever.
Yeah.
Because these are the stat that Drake is talking about is a relative change over the last 6 months. So he's saying like relatively Manning over the last 6 months has grown more than Brady.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Also, I'm just not totally sure if 24% versus 16%. I mean, I think in either case, that's a bullish indicator for both of those guys' markets.
What do you think without looking? What do you think the overall football index is in the last 6 months?
10%.
Nice. 8.5.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Pokemon.
64%.
44.
44. Yeah.
But it's like wildly ahead of everything else. Second is Yu-Gi-Oh.
That'll do it. Okay. From mostly soccer cards, a little bit of a longer question. Just buckle in. When a card is graded, does it become something else rather than a unique card? Now that it's graded, it has become an entity. And then I asked him for further elaboration. Here's what he said. So a card is a card when it gets pulled, whether it goes into a binder or a top loader. It's tangible. You can touch it. You can feel it. You can wipe off a smudge. And there is a sense of complexity and an element of the unknown to it because there's no grade assigned. But once it's graded and once it's been encapsulated, is it possible that we should view it as a separate thing entirely? It's now a PSA 9 of that card or a PSA 10 of that card, which has different expectations than a BGS 9 of that card or a BGS 9.5 of that card. The card gains a new identity as you can no longer touch the card or feel it, and the collectability and the investment potential is often radically different and tied to the grade and the grading company on the slabs and the grading company's name on the slab. Sure, you can crack it out and submit it again, but really the card has a new identity and it almost becomes something else. Reactions.
This sounds like a philosophy question.
Yeah, and this question is instrumental to the databasing of Card Ladder.
Right.
Because we use this approach. It's implicit in the construction of Card Ladder, whether you're browsing sales history, show me copies of the same grade, show me sales of copies in all the grades, or if you go over to the ladder profiles, they are segmented by grade.
Right.
Which is a very good system, I think, but it's not perfect either. So vintage collectors will be quick to point out that PSA 4 with great centering and bad edges is a very different card than a PSA 4 with sharp edges and terrible registration and mediocre centering. So there's the card within the variance within the grade that can become dramatic at the eye appeal level with vintage, and then collectors of modern and ultra modern patch cards will point out that there can be some patches that are quite plain, and there can be other patches that have 5 colors and 6 breaks and look stunning. And even though they're technically the same card or copies of the same card, the variation in the quality of the patch can really impact the desirability of the card. So it's not a perfect system to segment cards in certain situations, but that sort of is the logic of not only Card Ladder, but I mean, we didn't invent that logic. We simply interpreted that that's how the market operates in most cases. So I think this is a spot on comment that like the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. Let's just take that as a really obvious example. A PSA 10 copy of that is a very different card than a PSA 1 of that, right? So
yeah, we made that decision early on, and I think it's good to separate by grade.
Yeah, definitely. And the tools exist for that to work. Whereas it'd be, for example, nobody titles their eBay listings, or very few. It's not consistently titled in eBay listings that this version of this RPA at a 99 has 3 colors in the patch, and even then, so it'd be tough to organize that without information. Okay, anyway, let's go on to Jeff Rose Jordans, who says, with eye appeal becoming a bigger and bigger thing in the vintage community, do you see it seeping more into 80s and 90s cards? For example, and I'm not saying that this really happened, a hypothetical Michael Jordan Thunder and Lightning PSA 4 with paper loss on the back, but with a nearly flawless front side, selling for more than a PSA 6 of the same card, but with a lot of front damage. Yes, I know, quote, buy the card, not the grade, but again, it's a thing that is ramping up around us. So what do you think about this idea, Josh, of eye appeal starting in the vintage and pre-war segments and then coming into other segments too?
I think we have this already for like the 03 Chrome LeBron, because it's, you know, it's very focused on the centering with like the border and stuff. So people prefer the 9.5 centering BGS copies over the 9.5 corner copies, for example.
Indeed. Also, the variance and patch quality has long been a way
Totally.
that people use eye appeal to differentiate cards. Variance and autograph quality is something that I mean, both those things are things you focus on, but like autograph quality is something that you are anal about. Is that fair?
Yes, fair.
Yeah. You need the autograph to have very particular
Right.
properties before you'll consider it.
Right.
And so I guess the question is more like, will it even increase further? Will the eye appeal aspect increase further?
I don't know, but those are like eye appeal properties of the card versus like the reason that vintage guys get so fired up about it is because in their eyes, they are rebels to the grading companies themselves. And they're like, I'm going to create my own value system outside of what you guys are saying, the 10, 9, 8. Whereas with modern, it's more, the modern ones are more willing to line up with the grading company, whatever they say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's just not nearly as much variance in like there's so much opportunity to differentiate cards within grades in the modern space.
Right.
And like decide I'm a guy who really cares about eye appeal, or I'm a guy who really cares about sharp corners and edges, or whatever. And there's just not that much. There's not nearly as much variance.
I think the vintage community is just so heavily reliant on the grading companies that they get to the point where they feel like they're too reliant on the grading companies, and they're looking for a way to kind of fight back a bit.
Yeah.
Because there's just like, I mean, as you know, the Mantle PSA 10 versus the Mantle PSA 1 is just exponential differences versus a PMG Green MJ PSA 10 versus an authentic, much smaller difference. So there's this sort of natural pushback against the grading company.
That's such a good observation. And then also, like, I think something that relates to that is the vintage guys, because condition and grading is the primary method by which they distinguish copies of the same card. And there's really only a few players like, Mantle has the 1951 Bowman, and that's it for 1951. So there's a real microscope held up to separate those cards and to find out what the best copy of it is. And or the copy that speaks the most to that particular collector. And as a result of that process being practiced by vintage collectors, every time they come across the card, they're scrutinizing it very carefully to try and find the copy that best speaks to them. As a result of that process, they sort of are training their brains to really think very critically and carefully in this way. And eventually they really develop a great skill for this. And then all of a sudden they say, am I sure that the third party grader is better than me at this?
Right.
I might actually be better. And, I'm not going to throw away what the third party grader has said, but I might have it's especially suited to what I value as a collector. I think I can determine that better than the number on the cert. I
mean, we as a community did the same thing with authentication of 90s basketball cards. We feel, did you see that story post? I think it was 0.4 seconds, tried to cross a BGS Kobe Playmaker Theater to PSA, and PSA had the authentic question mark on it, and sparked an observation from the community like, hey, I think this thing actually is a fake copy.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's a really unfortunate situation. I feel for him on that, and I hope that there's a resolution to that.
Yeah. You want to do one more question?
Sure. All right, we'll do. We'll do. Oh man, I'll just go to the next one on the list here. There's so many. Okay, Rookie Moonshot says, "Hey guys, my question was poorly worded a couple of podcasts ago. What I was trying to ask is the following: the frothiest part of the market right now is probably rookie cards that are not aesthetically compelling and not rare. The fact that these cards sell for more than players' most beautiful cards and their rarest cards from non-rookie years is laughable. Cards that are numbered in the hundreds or even thousands are outpacing stunning, exceptionally rare non-rookie cards. Long term, there is no way that this lasts. Of course, the best looking and most scarce rookies will always command the most. But the tier 2 rookies are cooked because stunning and scarce non-rookie tier 1 cards will be heavily preferred to them. No one is impressed by someone's heavily printed, non-scarce, stupid parallel rookie."
I wish this asker would give an example or two that they're thinking of to really get me excited.
I've got examples. Like, this is definitely how I collect players.
Yeah.
So like let's take Christian McCaffrey, for example. I've built that collection around the idea that I'd rather have his second or his fifth or his eighth year Prism Black Finite 1/1 than just about any rookie card of his outside of his Select Blacks, his National Treasures, Platinum Shield, his Contenders, Super Bowl ticket, or his Prism Black. So like there's just a few 1/1 rookies that I would rank higher than his non-rookie Prism Black.
Yeah, I mean, the question asker is probably thinking of examples where it's like the, Christian McCaffrey, blue Prism out of 99 or whatever, selling for more than a out of 5 second year or something.
Right. All right. Let's pick a title. Christina, would you like to do the honors? As we wrap up our final crossover episode before the National, before we're all together next week having fun.
Just the final crossover episode. You could have just stopped there. Okay. Christina screwed up.
Think about this, Christina. One of these will be the final crossover episode, and you might not even know it until it happens.
I know.
You might not know it until after it happens.
That's why I keep calling it, because eventually it's going to be the last episode. Christina screwed up.
Good. That's a great one.
You could probably just stop. You could probably just stop.
Do you want to just stop here?
Yeah.
Should we just stop reading them? I'm fine with this.
Go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
I will call the police on you. Hotlanta.
That reminds me of 20 years ago, Hotlanta.
Rejoice in my good news bringing. I identify as not having balls.
Who doesn't? Who can't relate to that?
I was hoping that one would go away, but it did not.
That would be our most relatable title ever.
I don't know who's buying these.
That's just a fact.
The Grand Canyon graph.
New term coined.
That one's kind of like, go ahead and say that. That was kind of difficult. I'm not gonna lie.
The Grand Canyon graph. Yeah.
Yeah. You notice
the
it?
Mouthful.
Yeah. Josh, do you want to say it?
The Grand Canyon graph? No, it's easy.
Okay. Well, okay. First of all,
I tried to help you out,
Arizona.
Christina. You should have just let mine ride, but you had you had to bring in the third co-equal
Should
branch.
we just go back to the top?
You brought in the
Christina
Supreme Court and they overruled you.
Next up, we have $1,000 pair of socks. Bitcoin repacks. The collectors.
No, let's not give them any ideas.
Yeah, seriously. The collector's grievance. And let me miss you, bro.
It's always amazing how no matter what we do, we somehow come up with 10 ridiculous things we said.
It's unavoidable. It's just it's a natural byproduct, and then Nick paying close attention and grabbing these.
I have 2.
Let's hear them.
I have a top 2.
I have a top 2 also. Let's hear yours.
It's probably the same as mine. Rejoice in my good news bringing and the Grand Canyon graph.
Okay.
I love a new crossover official phrase.
Yeah, that is good when we're coining something. I had rejoice in my good news bringing too. It just inspired the most organic reply from the three of us. And why not bring in the national with a little bit of good news?
And it was about the location of the bathrooms.
Yeah, that would be my vote. My other one was identify as not having balls, but like we're not doing that. But that was my second favorite. That
Like,
would
I
bring
just
like we always have to be so careful to not title this as something that's just going to bring in a whole other population.
Like, what population is that?
The ballless.
Females?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. No, that was
Yes.
It gets
Yeah.
very complicated quickly.
right.
Yeah.
Just the
So
ballless,
complicated.
the deballed,
Super complicated. I'm
as
very-
opposed to the bald. Now, anytime somebody calls me bald, I'm gonna think about the dual meaning of that phrase. Even if I have hair, I could still be bald, as
Well,
opposed to ballless.
isn't you know how you're not supposed to say homeless, you're supposed to say like what do they say?
Unhoused. Unhoused.
Yeah, you're supposed to say the unhaired.
The unhaired. Yeah.
Yeah.
The unbald.
I was just gonna say, so do you say like the unball or unball? Yeah. Wait, that didn't work.
As opposed to the bald.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Anyway, we should probably go with rejoice in my good news bringing.
I like this one.
Can you do a
We
like
should
a
do like the church.
yeah, like a Jesus thing? Do a cross with like
That might bring in a new population.
Or just a toilet.
Oh, that would be funny because, like, if you listen to the episode, you know that it's about the toilets.
Hmm.
But yeah,
But I really was trying to inspire my inner, church going pastor like phrasing.
So something holy.
Exactly.
Maybe a little angel.
There you go.
is there an angel emoji?
I don't know. That's Stiff's job. Stiff is now. I just
that
close
used to-
out the stream and I just like forget about it, and he's like, "Oh, all right. I guess I have to go in and put the title on."
That was the real reason we switched, so that you didn't have to type out the caption.
Was not a small factor. All right, so that's gonna do
Dude,
it.
I think we have 2 weeks off, bro.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Whoa.
Probably, possibly. Don't expect any crossovers out there. Just set that bar real low, and then anytime you get one, you'll be thrilled. That's the secret to life.
I
That's
think
what National should have done. They should have been like, it's gonna be hot as hell, you guys. The AC sucks.
Be prepared to sweat, fatties.
Yeah, exactly.
Be prepared for your feet to ache. You can't access a single comp, and you are sweating through your shirt.
If you
guys.
can't access comps, come to the card ladder booth and we'll help you.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it. We will see you guys in a month or so.